Here we go. Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Nicole Dennis, and it's great to have you here to learn about how you can see a breakthrough in your own life. So we're going to share a little bit with you about incredible new health technology brought to us by ASEA. Because this technology works at a cellular level, that's why you can see on this slide all of the different things it can help you with your health and wellness. It can help elite and amateur athletes with their performance, can help you with your beauty, anti-aging, helping you to live younger for longer and to maintain good health as you age. And because of the way that this product is brought to market, there's also an opportunity for you to leverage this breakthrough and share it with other people and earn and have time and money freedom in your own life, which is pretty amazing. So what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about Redox technology. So what is that? So the Huffington Post is a very well-respected online journalism source, and it had an article in there that said there were 5 emerging technologies that will shape our lives in coming years. And one of these technologies, you can see there on the list, was redox signaling technology. So you're going to hear a lot more about this. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, you're going to hear a lot more about it in years to come. Now, the only place that you can get redox signaling molecule products is from a company called ASEA, and we're going to tell you a little bit about that this evening as well. So when people first hear about redox technology and ASEA's products, they ask, is it like a vitamin or a mineral or an antioxidant or an exotic juice? And we're all familiar with these things, and they have many, many great health benefits, right? A lot of these things. However, it is not like any of these things because it is a totally new category of health products, okay? So it goes beyond nutrition and ingredients, and because of this, it impacts your health at a level that nothing else that you might have seen before has the ability to do. So, and that is exactly what happened for me. So the redox discovery. So basically, we're just made up of trillions of cells, and we live and die at a cellular level. This is a very simplified diagram of what a cell looks like. And inside of our cell, we have a little power plant called a mitochondria, which produces energy and allows our body to do all of the things that our body needs to do. As part of this energy production, the mitochondria also produce redox signaling molecules. And now science understands that these are the smallest particle of physical communication between the cells. It's how our cells talk to each other. So they are really, really important. There's more than 15,000 peer-reviewed articles and more than 1,200 books on redox signaling and what the importance of these foundational molecules in our body. And they're understanding more and more that the redox molecules are the key to cellular rejuvenation and renewal, and they are how our cells can be healthy and how our body heals itself. Because redox molecules are pretty much involved in every major system of the body. Well, every major system, because everything has cells, right? There's nothing in our body that isn't made up of cells. So these redox molecules are involved in everything that happens. So you might be sitting there, if you're listening to this for the first time, and going, well, I produce redox molecules inside my cells, so why would I need to take a redox molecule product? So we're all getting older every day. Like, that is a fact. We can't avoid that one. But, we might not eat a perfect diet. We might have stress in our lives, and we are all definitely exposed to environmental toxins. Without any of these extra things, just with the aging process alone, our redox function declines as we age. A healthy adolescent will be at 100%. By the age of 40, it's down to around 50%. And by our 70s and 80s, it's down to around 10%. With poor diet, stress, and environmental toxins, this degradation can accelerate. So you can think of this like a mobile phone. So when we're young, we have like 100% signal strength, and we have 5 bars, 4G, everything. The communication is crystal clear. As we age, this is getting the communication, the signal strength is getting lower and lower. The internet's not very good, so we can't communicate very well. On your mobile, you miss words when you have poor reception. You can't stream things off YouTube. This is what's happening to our cells. They can't talk to each other properly, and things start to break down. There's miscommunication, and we begin to see and feel the impacts of aging. So if you think of it, it's like our DNA hasn't changed, but it's the signal strength has changed. That's what's happening inside of our body. And this is backed up by science. A very famous scientist, Professor James Watson, who's won a Nobel Science Prize for co-discovery of the DNA double helix, stated in an article he published in 2014 that he believed most diseases weren't so much a function of aging, but a result of a lack of redox signaling molecules in the body. So ASEA is one of the greatest health and anti-aging discoveries of our lifetimes. That is a pretty big statement, but there are many scientists that have this view. It's the flagship technology that ASEA has is Redox. They have a product that you take on the inside. They have Renew 28, topical delivery of the molecules, an intensive Redox serum, which is just super concentrated topical delivery of the molecules. They have some complementary beauty and anti-aging products that work with the Redox to improve their efficacy. And in the future, we'll have some complementary health and wellness products as well. So how does ASEA make these incredible molecules? So this had been declared impossible by science, by scientists, and pharmaceutical companies have tried to make them. They said it's not possible. And ASEA has done the impossible through a process that is got 49 US and international patents. So it may look quite simple on this slide, but it's actually very complex. Over a 3-day period, ASEA takes pristine salt water, which is exactly what most of our cells are made up of and what the molecules are made from inside of our cells. And they break that down into free-floating atoms, and then the atoms are restructured into stabilized redox signaling molecules. So this is a photo of ASEA's manufacturing facility in the USA. You can see the big vats of redox molecules there. So it's patented, as I mentioned, there's 49 US and international patents. ASEA likes to do independent clinical studies. If you'd like to view some of the research that ASEA has done on the liquid products, you can go to ASEAscience.com, because I will not be going through the results of that this evening. And you can also visit the Redox doc, that's THE Redox, REDOX, doc.com for information about the importance of redox in different systems in the body. So these are some studies on Renew 28, and they're done by very well-respected dermatological labs, Stevens in the US and Dermatest in Germany. And what they found over a 28-day period was a 16% increase in the rate of skin cell renewal. So as we age, our skin cells turn over less frequently, and this is showing that they are turning over more frequently, like they did when we were younger. And so our skin looks, healthy and more vibrant. Also found a 23% increase in smoothness, increase in smoothness, and a 23% decrease in wrinkles. So pretty amazing, reducing the visible signs of aging in just 28 days. Who wouldn't like a bit of that? A 20% improvement in elasticity. So this shows it's not plumping up the skin. Many anti-aging products plump up the skin, increase the space between the cells so that the signs of aging, wrinkles, are less prominent. This is actually improving the structure of the skin. One other study that was really interesting, and this one was actually only over a few days, was blood flow. And they asked, does Renew 28 increase skin blood flow? And they found a 50% increase in skin blood flow. Now, this is incredible, because skin blood flow, by bringing blood to an area, you're bringing life force and energy to an area, and that's giving that area what it needs to be able to do what the body wants to do and heal itself. So if you have things that have got poor circulation, things in the body that aren't healing, increasing skin blood flow and the cellular communication through this topical Redox product is going to have amazing things happen. Many customers also report benefits from applying Renew 28 to areas of joint and muscle discomfort. So you can try this for yourself or try it on people that you meet. Get them to apply a raspberry size 3 times in 5 minutes, and around 15 or 20 minutes later, ask them what happened. Get them to rate it out of 10, their discomfort level before, and rate it out of 10, 20 minutes later, and just see for yourself. So seeing is believing. These are incredible photos showing the results of what Renew 28 has done on the outside of the body. You can see a significant difference in the visible signs of aging through the application of Renew 28. All of these photos are over a 28-day period, so pretty phenomenal. But this is on the outside, and that's great. We all want to look better on the outside, but what is happening on the inside? So this is an application of the Redox gel, and it's showing before and afters using thermography, which is showing what happens inside the body. So I'm not going to go into a big lesson on thermography, but basically red is bad and green is like good. So you can see these photos are 1 to 3 applications of the Redox gel, and they're between 8 and 13 minutes apart, the before and the after photos. All different people, it's not the same person. And you can see all of the before photos have significantly more red areas than the after photos. So you can see in a very short time that these molecules are going to work on the inside of the body. So let's take a look at what the experts are saying. So Anne Louise Gittleman is a New York Times best-selling author of more than 30 books and often referred to as the First Lady of Nutrition. She says, ASEA, in my humble opinion, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. So who wouldn't want to be able to do that? Dr. Gary Samuelson, he's an atomic medical physicist and the one who was responsible for being able to create this breakthrough by stabilizing these molecules outside of the body. He says the redox signaling process is remarkable because it is the process that allows us to regenerate tissue and maintain our normal function and capacities. This technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen. Athletes are getting the advantage with ASEA. Athletes like Olympic swimmer Bridget Larson, Eddie Hall, the world's strongest man, Brian McChrystal, cyclist and Ironman, and Kathy Waite, an elite Xterra athlete. So these athletes are all different types of sport. Some of them require fast, short bursts of energy. Some of them require endurance. Some of them require strength. And they are all benefiting from using ASEA's products. So now we're going to stop hearing from me and we're going to hear from the amazing Jo Firma, who has joined us tonight. So we're very glad to have Jo here, and Jo is from Melbourne. So I'll be hopefully catching up with you soon when I'm down there in a couple of weeks, Jo. My first little few night trip away from baby Joy. So that will be, I'm leaving Dustin at home with baby Joy. So let me just get you unmuted. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't drive properly. Okay, hi Jo, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. It's great to see you. It's been awesome to meet you in person in Melbourne a few times. So can you share with us a little bit, Jo, about your experience with the ASEA products and what got you interested in them? Like what made you think that you would give them a try?
Well, that actually happened by accident, because in February last year I fell through a window and lacerated my arm. And the reason I possibly fell through the window was I have an autoimmune disease which affects my balance quite badly. So lacerated my arm, ended up with 18 stitches, a lot of nerve damage on my elbow, and a friend of mine brought around a tube of Redox and said, just put this everywhere. So like a good friend, I did what I was told to do and very quickly started to feel the effects of the healing of the gel. The scarring, the nerve damage, all healed really quickly. My physio was just blown away by how quick I healed. And, to this day, the scar's very, very small, and using lots of different, or all of our products on the scar, I'm still seeing results. So it's really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it. I've seen the way you've done the scar as well, and you did a little bit with you had really great results with the Renew, and then didn't you do a little bit with the serum when it came out?
Yeah, with the advanced serum, and it's just like a little pen line now, so it's fantastic. And it's very soft. There's no scar tissue behind it. I've had no problems with nerve damage with my elbow, so it's like I can just close that chapter, which is great not to have ongoing problems.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's amazing because you've had other health challenges, so you don't need any extra ones, right?
But those health challenges have been reduced significantly since I've been using the Redox every which way I can, because with my autoimmune disease, fatigue is a big issue for me. So often I would find that I'd have to have a day sleep, and that would sometimes be 1.5 to 2.5 hours. And when you have teenage children, any children, it's a big chunk of your day that's taken. But I don't have to have a day's sleep anymore.
That's awesome.
So that's amazing, yeah. Less spasms, involuntary spasms that I would get with my legs, particularly when I was tired. I don't have that. I don't have any spasms anymore. So even when I am tired, so that's great as well, which is I suppose a little less embarrassing when you're out in a social situation and people don't understand, what's wrong with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's made a difference in so many areas of your life.
Mental clarity's been amazing. I can get up and say, okay, well, today I'm going to do this, whereas previously it would be like, oh, no, I can't do that today. I can't. So, yeah, I'm a walking tribute to it, I think.
Yeah.
I run it every which way I can.
That's awesome. So you, have also shared the products with quite a few people as well, because you've had your amazing personal experience. And what would you say how the ASEA products get different results to all the things that you've tried before or seen before?
I think because the results are permanent, there's a lot of things on the market that are almost like a Band-Aid, and that they'll work while you're using them. I mean, Redox works obviously better while you're using it, but it doesn't matter if you miss a day because you'll still feel okay. Whereas with all the products, all the consumer products that are out there, if you don't use it, you won't get any benefit. So I just love that it's just so easy to fit into my lifestyle. It's one quick application, one quick drink, however you want to use the Redox. It is so easy to incorporate into your life.
Yeah, it is. It's such an easy product. You just put it on, take it. It's like super simple. It's awesome. I love it too. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Jo. If anyone has any questions for Jo, we'll take some questions at the end of the call for Jo if you want to ask her some questions. But I'm just going to do a few more slides, and then hopefully Justin is around there and he has checked his text message for me. There's a little hint for Justin if he's listening in on the call. I'm not sure if he is or not. He might be looking after the bubba. All right. Well, that's a little bit of a product story. There's many, many more product stories with ASEA's products. And if you want to see some more personal experiences from people about what they've experienced with ASEA's products, you can ask the person who invited you to this call to add you to our Facebook community. And there's tons and tons of testimonials in there. So one thing that's really important with ASEA is to set correct expectations. So, some people are going to have a really great experience in a very, very short amount of time. But in the US, and this is based on the liquid product, that is only around 10% of people in a week. So, it's not something that you just give to people to use for a week. In 90 to 120 days, so 3 months of use in the correct amount for your challenge that you're experiencing, this increases to 90+% of people. So this is really incredible because that means that most people are having their own personal health breakthrough if they use the products in the correct amount and for long enough. So it's really important to set correct expectations because we don't want anyone to miss out on having their own breakthrough with ASEA. So just a little bit about how ASEA has been brought in this format into the market, and why you're hearing about it from someone who invited you here tonight. So ASEA was founded by Vertus Norton and his son Tyler. Vertus was super successful in corporate America, vice president of strategy at Kraft Foods, and because of this, sat on the boards of many companies in his retirement. And one of these companies was working with the Redox technology, and Vertus realized it was something really, really special. And he bought the rights to the technology and was able to work with scientists to further develop it and to stabilize it outside of the body. And because of this, they were from traditional business. They did what they thought was what you did with a health product, and they went to a large pharmaceutical company because they thought that was how they were going to get into the hands of people. But the pharmaceutical company said, we're going to give you all of this money, like heaps of money, close to $1 billion. But the condition is that nobody could have any more Redox. And they already had like some of their friends and people in their community on these products. They were having life-changing results. And they said, well, you have to, they can't have it anymore. And they just thought, no, we're really not comfortable with this. We really, we can't do this. So they said, we're not going to take the money. We're going to put it into the hands of people. And that's why they decided to bring it to market through the relationship marketing or network marketing model. And this has been a huge success for ASEA. They've been profitable since their first year. They own their manufacturing facility. They have 13 distribution centers globally and ship to 29 countries. They've had almost $500 million in sales and year-on-year growth, and tens of thousands of lives changed. So how did they do that? So I am going to share a little bit of my business story this evening. So I don't know, did you get my text, Justin? Do you want to ask me the questions so I'm not like just talking at myself? Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Awesome.
So
he's not even incognito. We get to see him because I've not shared my business story on this call before. I've like interviewed Justin a couple of times, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, great. Well, Nikki, tell us about what got you interested in the ASEA business in the first place.
So what got me interested is I had a really incredible health breakthrough around my own health after of a challenge that I'd had for 25 years. And then also a close friend of ours had an incredible result with her health. And she was really the one, she'd been involved in this industry before with a different company and a different health technology that had helped her a lot, but not in the same way that ASEA had helped her. And she was the one who said to Justin and I that we should take a look at this as a business opportunity. But at this point in time, ASEA wasn't available in Australia, and they wouldn't allow anyone to do any business in Australia. So we just thought we would do a bit of research on the network marketing industry, really. And so we read some books, and we actually went to an ASEA convention in 2012 and met all of the people, and we were really impressed by them. We really wanted to do business with them, but it wasn't available at that time. But we came home, we looked into the industry a lot, and I had always been in business since the age of 27. I'd run a successful consulting company, but I realized that this business was an opportunity to really leverage my time and to create a lifestyle that I really wanted. And that was something that I didn't really even know was a possibility. And, I was like, wow, you can actually live where you want. You can have a family and stay home with your kids and not have to go into an office and things like that. Because I had a very successful, highly paying career, but it was very demanding on my time. So that was really kind of how I got interested, roundabout kind of way.
Okay, great. Thank you. That kind of covered a lot of the topics. And the second question I had for you, which was, can you share how the ASEA business is different to what you've done before, and how the lifestyle benefits of this style of business compared to what you've done in the past?
Yeah, so before I had so I worked in corporate for a while. So that's obviously, 9 till 5, or more like, 9 till 9 at night and things like that. I used to work a lot of nights and a lot of weekends. And then I went out and had my own consulting firm. And so that allowed me to build a little bit more flexibility into my life. But when deadlines were on, I had to work all of the time. Used to drive Justin crazy. I'd be like having to work like weekends. Like I worked, between Christmas and New Year, a lot of time getting project deadlines done and things like that. And I didn't have control over that. Like, I worked on big infrastructure projects, and when, you know, there was a deadline on, it just had to be done. And there was like no way to like kind of move that and things like that. I have written reports on a 14-hour flight to Los Angeles, spread papers all across many seats. So yeah, it put a lot of restrictions on my time. Whereas this kind of business, it's we did work very hard for the first couple of years, but now we have a lot more flexibility with our time. And so, you know, last year I had like, you know, I didn't feel so great in my pregnancy, so I took a lot of time off, and I still got paid every week, and nothing else that I'd done before would allow me to do that. And also when we had baby Joy earlier this year, I was able to really not work very much for a few months at all. And whereas my previous, like, even if I'd been doing my consulting work still, I probably would have only been able to have like 6 weeks off work, and I would have had to like go back and do things, and it would have been very challenging with like my client load and all of that kind of thing to even do that. So yeah, it's offered like a ton more freedom.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And the last question is, how have the possibilities of what you see for your future changed because of ASEA?
Well, I think, you know, like there's just so many things have changed in our lives. So we have like now a lot of friends all around the country and all around the world. So I know a lot more people than what I ever thought was possible. And that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to, you know, have like this amazing network of like-minded people. And I think really the possibility as well is that, you know, I can like have an abundant life and to be able to do the great things that I want to do with my family. Like, we love to travel and we love water skiing and things like that, but not have to like go and like spend all of my hours away from my home and away from my family to be able to do those things. Like, I can actually have both now. And the other possibility is that I was going back through some of my journals and things the other day, and like about the difference and the impact that I wanted to make into the lives of others in the world. And this was like years ago, before I knew about ASEA, and I'd written all of these things down about how I wanted to help people with their health and like their abundance. And that was something that I really wanted to be able to do for other people. But I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, doing what I'm doing in project management. And that's all kind of come to fruition, and that's super rewarding. Yeah, to be able to do that for others, and to be able to see them to have possibilities in their life, whether that's, you know, becoming debt free, or buying their own home, or traveling the world, or staying home with their kids, or whatever that is. Like, that's very rewarding to help other people with that.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing, Nicole. You've got an inspiring story. I love it.
Thank you for interviewing me. So I'm going to finish off my slides, but I thought, yeah, no one's heard from me. I'm always like doing the little presentation of my personal story. So that's just a little bit about my personal story for those of you who haven't heard it before. Okay, so, you know, as I said, it's like pretty amazing, the ASEA business. It can really give you time and money freedom. It can help you to bring dreams back to life, or perhaps, you know, dreams that you never even realized that you had. You can be like, wow, like I can actually like do this thing, like go on this trip, or you know, go and live somewhere where I want to live, or whatever it is, you know, like all of our dreams are very personal to us. And it can also help you to really make a contribution to others, which is really, really amazing as well. So maybe you've been sitting here and you have been thinking, well, maybe you're looking for more out of life. Maybe you don't feel like you have enough time, like you're stressed and you always, you know, don't have enough time, or you don't have enough money to do the things you love, or maybe both. You know, like a lot of us in this modern world feel like that. We feel like we're too busy and, you know, we can't do the things we want to do. Or maybe you feel like you've forgotten those dreams that you had when you were younger, and you don't feel like you have like fun and passion for life anymore. So by working with something like ASEA, and you can, you know, work on this around the nooks and crannies of your already full life, you can start to go, wow, I have the possibility to like bring those dreams back to life again. Like I can create this. And that's not going to happen like overnight, but it is definitely something that you can work towards. So you can reach whatever potential that you want with ASEA. So when I first heard about network marketing, because I had such a very successful corporate career, and the very generous payment that comes with that, I didn't think that this industry was something that could remunerate me in the way in which I wanted to be, until I saw that it could actually remunerate me more than what I was used to earning. So ASEA has paid out $200 million to thousands of associates, and this is, your goals might not be. You might want to just earn a few $100s a month, and that's fine. But you can see, if you want to earn a very significant income, that is available too. It will take effort and dedication to get to some of those very significant incomes, but it is totally possible. So if you're here and you're looking at the opportunity, you can catch the wave. So has anyone ever felt like, they were just needed to be in the right place at the right time? So the last 30 years have been about vitamins and minerals, antioxidant formulas, and exotic juices. And these things are great. And a lot of people that got on board with, educating people and spreading the words about these types of things, which were new technologies at one time, has, a lot of them had very significant financial benefit from doing so. So the next 30 years are going to be about Redox, signaling molecules, and ASEA. So do you want to be at the end of the last wave or at the beginning of the next one? Because we are positioned to harness the opportunity from a new technology that has the capacity to bless and change many lives, but it also has the capacity to change your financial future. So the ASEA technology is a category creator. Nothing else sits in this category of a molecular product. It has third-party science, life-changing benefits. It's heavily patented. There's no competition, and a tremendous financial opportunity. So, if that's something that interests you, you can do that. So where do you see yourself with ASEA? You can be a consumer. You can use the products and have great health benefits, like some of the ones that Jo shared with us this evening. You can do this through retail or wholesale pricing as a preferred customer. You can share the products and you can earn some income. Perhaps you want to pay for the cost of your products. Perhaps you want to earn a few $100s a month or a couple of $1,000s a month. You can share this with others, earn your own products, and create a part-time income. Perhaps you've seen the vision and you have that entrepreneurial spirit. So you can, join our team. You can work your own hours from home. We have like a structured program of coaching you to be able to achieve this as a business. And you can create a very significant and legacy income with ASEA. So, it has allowed us to really, we've taken a lot of time off in the last year while I was pregnant and while we had a young baby in January of this year, and nothing else would have allowed us to have that amount of downtime to be able to spend with her. But now we're back into doing stuff, because I really do enjoy business as well. So I will always like to finish with a quote from Vertus Norton, because I'm very grateful to him for saying no to the pharmaceutical company and to wanting to put these products into the hands of people like me and people like you that are on this call. He says, we are all at the start of something big with great purpose, and right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world. So never underestimate your power as a single person to change the lives of many, many others. So thank you very much for listening to this short presentation this evening. If you've been invited here as a guest by someone, get back to them and ask them how you can get started with ASEA. If you would like me to stick around and help you with that in a few minutes, I can just send a message in the chat box. Just click chat down the bottom of the screen and I can help take you through the process to get started. You'll just need to get the website of the person who invited you to do that. So if anyone has any questions for Jo or myself, you can go down to the bottom left of your Zoom box and unmute yourself, and you can ask a question or make a comment. So, and thank you so much again to Jo for being our guest on the call this evening.